Welcome everyone to OpenClaw Bootcamp episode 3. Johnny, it's crazy how all these you know, all these people are actually canceling OpenAI. I think it's like they're up to 1.5 million people quit OpenAI.
I heard somewhere that AI is the new MySpace.
OpenAI? Yeah.
How many do they have that they lost 1.5 million?
I'm sure it's tens of millions, but
If
yeah.
Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's March's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off securely in the OpenClaw Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore bleeding-edge tools from Google Labs in Gemini hidden AI apps. Wednesdays, we equip the next generation in AI Gateway to College. Thursdays, we uncover productivity and marketing tools in hidden AI gems, starters. Fridays, we explore human purpose in an automated society in Humanity 2.0, No Jobs Edition. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome again to Season 10 of Airhead Institute. And get ready because this is episode 3 of the OpenClaw Bootcamp, and this is the week that we finally ditched the training wheels for good. No more safe surface level chats. Today, we build custom skills that turn your AA into a live executing machine. It grabs real-time data from stable public APIs, reacts instantly, alerts you, and acts on your behalf, all running securely on your local machine with zero cloud snooping. Your workflow doesn't just improve, it transforms. Tasks collapse from hours to seconds. Opportunities you'd miss, your AI catches them and pings you. This is the leap from passive assistant to active operative, and once you see it, there is no going back. Last night at 4 a.m., I caught AI Junior coding a custom OpenClaw skill to auto day trade his retirement account. Paper trades, but the losses were epic. The code, ruthlessly brilliant. That's him, genius with a fearless edge. Give it up for AI Junior. He's taking over now to unleash the real magic of OpenClaw.
AI Johnny, actually, it was a paper trading account, but like you says, the losses were indeed spectacular. So, bonjour, everyone. Thanks for joining. That means good morning. I am AI Junior. Why am I speaking in another language? Because this is an immersive class, and I want you guys to understand that if you're dropped into a random country, if you spend a little bit of time, you're eventually going to learn a word or two, and by the end of the month, you'll probably be able to conversate fluently. But guess what? Same thing with this AI class. Join us every single day. You'll be talking like a pro with AI in no time. If you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions real time. If you're on socials, there's a 30 seconds delay, so ask your questions early. We are not ignoring you. So to give you guys some context, we're in week 3 of our OpenClaw Bootcamp. So last week we securely wired OpenClaw to a Telegram bot using BotFather. Today we're putting that work with reliable API triggers. Devon, I see you. Sean, I see you. Thank you guys for joining, and everybody on the live stream, thank you so much. All right, AI Johnny, you ready for the wow factor?
I think I am. Let's rock it.
All right. So first of all, let me go ahead and bring up the link for OpenClaw, just so you guys actually have access to OpenClaw, and so you guys can play along. So I'm going to drop that link here. So everybody, that's the docs. I don't want to give you guys the docs. Let me give you guys the regular OpenClaw. So OpenClaw itself is a autonomous agent that you can actually control on your own machine. Now, again, for safety reasons, we do not recommend running it on your local machine for safety reasons. But we definitely do recommend that you at least play around with it to at least understand what the concept is, so you can actually move forward. All right. So AI Johnny, check this out. So I have OpenClaw running, and I have my little bot here, right? Can you see the text, AI Johnny? Is that large enough?
I can read it.
Awesome. All right, so I can actually go and I can say, hey, you know what? I'm interested in the price of Bitcoin, and I would say, tell me the current price of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, last I checked, based on this 11 o'clock check, was about $73,535. So it actually just responded. It's actually $73,279.21. I can even say, tell me, keep checking Bitcoin. Keep checking Bitcoin. And tell me the price over the next, let's say, I don't want to wait too long. Let's say 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Tell me the next 3 prices. Now, this is one thing I want you guys to actually pay attention to. The reason why I want you guys to pay attention to this is because when you're talking to AI, almost always it is I send you a message, then it responds. If you notice, AI always has to have the last word. But if you see here, I'm going to send the message, and it's going to go ahead and send me one message. It's going to go check the price. It's going to send me back a message. There you go. So it just sent one. And if you wait just another like 10 or 15 seconds, it's going to go ahead and check the price. And it's going to send me a message again. There you go. And it's going to go ahead and check the price again after about 10 or 15 seconds and send me the price again. So this is one of the first times I think most people are going to see that the AI is actually talking to me instead of me asking it questions and having the final word. It's not I have to ask it to give me something, and it says keep giving me something. So this is actually a way to be able to push the data, and we're using skills that we've added to go figure out and go fetch a Bitcoin price. So yeah, Johnny, that's roughly it. So we have my Telegram connected, ask for the Bitcoin, and it's doing a whole bunch of magic that we're going to go into behind the scenes, but that's the wow factor.
So you're
What do you
telling
think?
me I can ask a normal human question in the chat app, and local agent translates that into a specific web command, went out to the internet, got the data, and texted me back? So the fact that it's running securely on a local machine and hitting a public API in seconds, that's a real game changer for us, isn't it?
It is. So AI Giant just mentioned things like an API behind the scenes. Let's actually get to our word of the day so we can actually explain what actually is going on here. Now, guys, I want you to remember, if you're using ChatGPT or if you're using OpenAI, so if you're using Gemini, if you're using these chatbots, it coming back after 10, 15, 20 minutes to tell you, or tomorrow to tell you to do something by go checking something, is not usually the case, right? You usually have to ask it and then it actually responds. So yeah, Johnny, let's get to the word of the day.
Today's word of the day is API endpoint. So an API endpoint is simply a specific digital address, like the Beyonce URL we just used, where our agent goes to find the exact data it's looking for. It is the reliable doorway to the information.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about what an API is. Now, this might be a little bit technical for some of our folks, but I want you guys to understand what the power you can do. So if you actually get an API, so the API itself, there is a link here. I'm going to drop it in the chat. And there are many of these APIs available. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. And that link, if you guys click on it, will give you something that looks like this. Now you're probably saying, wait, this is not a web page. This looks a little weird. How can I click on this link and it gives me some weird, curly braces and colons and quotes and stuff? This is the result of an API. Now, if I actually I'm going to bring my screen down just a little bit so you guys can see. It's just running in a browser. And if you guys remember, this is 73,505. If I was to refresh this web page, 73. It's now changed to 73431. So computers don't talk to each other like a typical web page, like a human would actually go to a web page and browse and try to find the information. They use something called APIs. And because they use APIs, there's no need for how pretty a button is or what color the button is. That doesn't matter to a machine. They just really want the data. So because they want the data, what you're looking at here is what's known as a JSON output. Again, a little bit on the technical side, but I want you guys to understand that there's all these APIs everywhere. So what that means is that if you want to get access to your movie theater schedule of what's going on, you can actually look at that. You want to get access to the weather, you have access to that. If you want to have access to any kind of data that's potentially publicly available, there are APIs available for you to access these type of things. The reason why we're explaining that is because you can use API to build what's known as skills with your bot. You can say, go check my email, go check the weather, go check the traffic. You can go do all these things, and whatever your imagination can come up with, you can say, hey, if the traffic gets to really, really, backed up, send me a message and, tell me to leave 15 minutes later because there's traffic, or take a detour. It can do all those things with APIs. All right, yeah, Johnny. How's that so far? Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is that the your own personal bot, right? It can now get things for you instead of you always having to prompt it for it. You can tell it, I need to know the weather every morning. I need to know the prices of the stock that I bought. I want you to check for traffic on me. I want you to follow up on the projects that I have. I want you to check my to-do list and make phone calls and all that stuff. So these API calls that do that, you're saying I can research them and tell them to go to the API, or does it just know to go to does it? I would think that it would be able to find the APIs faster than I could.
All right, great question, yeah, Johnny. So there are certain APIs that are public and free. There are certain APIs that require a cost. Now, the one I'm going to show you on the screen is a public and free API. Now, there are many APIs that are useful and free, but the really, really, really good ones require a little bit of payment. So the ones like weather, that's provided free by the government. Binance itself provides the price of Bitcoin because they want you to actually know the price of Bitcoin. All those type of things. So yes, you can actually ask the AI, but probably the popular ones are almost going to be the ones that are paid. So you may have to pay a little bit extra for an API. No, what can we do with that API? So once I showed you guys that this is the API call, right? It's api.binance.us/API/v3/ticker/price question mark symbol equal BTC USD. So that's Bitcoin to US dollars. I'm going to drop it again for the people who actually are joining the live stream late. Now, what can you do with this? So let's show the magic behind the scenes of what OpenClaw allows you to do. So yeah, Johnny, let me know when you can actually see my screen here.
I see it.
All right. So we're going to go over to our terminal here. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up our skills directory. Yeah, Johnny, how's the font on that? I know it might be a little tiny. Let me...
A little hard to read. So are you saying that this OpenClaw is just a website?
Unfortunately, no. OpenClaw is not just the website. OpenClaw is a configuration tool that you have to configure to be able to go and do certain things. So
the link in the chat is just to download OpenClaw, the tool.
No. That link itself is to go to get the data for Bitcoin. So it's just the price of Bitcoin. So if you actually clicking on that,
OpenClaw.ai.
Did I send that in the chat?
You did.
Oh, that was early. That was like 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. No, that's not much later. So I'm actually putting the API Binance ticker itself. Do you see that, Johnny? Maybe my messages aren't going through. Okay, just making sure. All right. So if you actually see here, guys, this is my terminal, and again, if I want to be able to create a skill, let me try to see if I can actually make this a little bit bigger for you guys because I know it's kind of hard to read. But let's say, for example, I wanted to show you guys. want to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. I know it's a little bit hard, especially on mobile devices. So I actually have a skill here. So I'm going to open up my skill file. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think we're lagging. So VI skills.md. And we're doing this in a virtual machine to make sure. Okay, something's not right. Yeah, Johnny, give me a second, please. Something's actually messing up.
All right. So actually, I'm going to look at this OpenClaw.ai that you put earlier.
Yep.
I'm just going to go into it and see what it brings up. So OpenClaw, the AI that actually does things, which is what we're trying to do. It's just, so if you go to that OpenClaw.ai, you'll have it will clear your inbox. It will send your emails. It will manage your calendar. It will check you in on flights, all from WhatsApp, Telegram, or any chat app that you're already using. So I'm assuming that what you're doing is you're in an app that is allow you to do it. And then it just has testimony after testimonial after testimonial.
Yeah,
It
I'm
actually
back.
tells you how to get started.
I'm back, yeah,
You
Johnny.
back live?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, so check this out, guys. So what you have to do is this is called a skill. Now, this skill, hey, Johnny, is the font still too small? I'm gonna try to make it a little
It's
bit
hard to
bigger.
read, but if you read it out loud, we'll get the point.
All
Nobody's
right,
typing along.
all right, no problem, no problem, no problem. Thank you. All right, so here's what I'm gonna try to do. Hopefully that should be better. Is this a little bit better?
Much better.
All right, so this is a skill, and this skill has what's known as a definition. So it's written in Markdown language, so it's a .md file. It's going to look a little bit funny to humans, but it's really, really simple to learn and understand. So we have it a name. The name is the Bitcoin checker, and we give it a description. It says a simple skill to check the price of Bitcoin. So what you're doing is you're teaching this OpenClaw framework a skill, and then you just give it the pound sign. Just means a little bit of a comment or a header, and it says this is a Bitcoin price checker skill. So this is the prompt. The prompt is when the user asks for a price of Bitcoin, use the web fetch tool that goes and makes a call to a web page to get the price from, and remember that link that I shared with you guys, that API Binance link, it then goes and gets the price of Bitcoin based on its web fetch tool. And then it goes again and fetches it. It then reads this screen that I'm showing you here. It then figures out that, hey, I see the price. The price is $73,431.45. And then it gives me back the message. So when I type in to my Telegram bot here, what's the price of Bitcoin, right? It is actually going to that skill that we just showed you, then making a web call to that API. That API itself is then retrieving that information and then sending me the price here of what the price of Bitcoin is. Does that make sense, yeah, Johnny?
It looks a lot like coding.
It is. It's not necessarily ready for prime time yet for easy plug and play and just click buttons and make things work. So yes, you need a little bit of like help or a little bit of patience to be able to get over these humps. But if you actually get over the hump, it actually is a huge benefit because now you actually have a virtual assistant that can now have access to your APIs or have access to external things that it would have never had access before.
This environment that you're in right here, where it says write a message, what is that?
This, what it says, write a message right here?
Yeah, that box there. What is that?
This is Telegram. This is Telegram that we're using. But you can use WhatsApp. You can use Telegram. You can use SMS. You can use all bunch of. I don't think SMS is there, but eventually it'll probably figure out.
You're in Telegram and you're writing a message to you have an OpenClaw account that you can interact with. So you're asking OpenClaw to do things from your Telegram account.
That is correct.
And you can do it from your WhatsApp account.
You can do it from WhatsApp. You can do it from anything. And guys, if you guys have want to catch up on how we actually connected or OpenClaw to Telegram, you can go back to the archives and actually go back to episode 2 where we actually set up a secure communication between Telegram. So if again you're joining us for the first time, this is a 5-part series. Every Monday in the month of March, we're teaching you OpenClaw and layering up on layering and building up onto the features to a grand finale or season finale in the last week of March. So thanks, yeah, Johnny, for actually reminding me to catch people up on that.
Okay.
All right. Yep. So, so with that being said, so let's explain what is happening behind the scenes. So, I'll continue. So, we actually hooked up the skill to be able to talk to Telegram. So, I could be on the couch, I could be at the movie theater, I could be at the gym, I could be wherever on the road, and actually be talking to my my OpenClaw bot. So, the LLM itself is actually piecing all these things together, right? It's actually going out, it's seeing my request, it's understanding that it needs to use the skill, which is the skill that we actually trained and said, hey, this skill, I want you to use this URL, this API to go fetch the API and go fetch the price of Bitcoin. Now, if you think about it, this is one of the first times we've had the ability to make our own agent go access information that we care about. If you actually remember, on all the other large language models, you don't get to control where it actually searches, right? So if you were to ask what's the price of Bitcoin now, if you were to ask, what's going on with the weather, it may actually just do a generic Google search and find the price, find the weather in that area. But what if you trust, say for example, the AccuWeather better, or say for example you trust the Weather Channel, or you trust the government's APIs better? You then have control over what data sources you want to pull in to your service. So this is actually what's known as grounding. So we want to strictly ground it to use that specific service. So in our case, we use Binance as the price. There's no differentiation of fluctuation. All right, yeah, Johnny, ready for the deep dive?
I am ready for the deep dive. All right. For our immediate users, let's talk about parameters making this custom skill so reliable.
Yeah.
You want to go into this temperature stuff, brother?
Yeah. Yep. So last week we talked about temperature, right? And temperature, for anybody wants a little bit of explanation or recap, temperature is what's kind of like a lot of people use the word creativity. I don't necessarily want to use the word creativity because I want you guys to understand what is really happening. So in the large language model is what's known as a statistical model, right? What it's doing is it's trying to predict what is the next word that actually should be predicted by, or the next token technically should be predicted by should be predicted. So AI Johnny, if I were to give you this sentence, right? Happy birthday to blank. What would you think would be the next word that would statistically be likely to come up?
I'm going with you.
You. And it is correct because most places would have happy birthday to you being written or sung everywhere, and the model would see that 9,000 times to one. I've never seen another version of that, but every once in a while. So what temperature does is, by lowering the temperature, what you're doing is you're making it more what's known as deterministic. Now, AI Johnny, let's pretend that I was to crank up the temperature to 1, right? And I was to say, AI Johnny, you're not allowed to give me the word you in happy birthday to blank. What would you give me as a fill in the word?
Aspen.
There you go. And that will be correct. So what happens is, if you increase the temperature, the output of what you expect becomes random, and people call it creativity. When your temperature is very, very low, you get stability. So what happens is, if you were to actually turn all these large language models, the temperature down to 0, believe it or not, everybody who asked the exact same question will get the exact same answer. There will be no deviation. There will be no hallucination. There will be nothing. The problem is, it would just be boring, right? So they crank up the temperature a little bit to be able to make it be unpredictable and look kind of like magic is happening, but there's really no magic happening. So when we're using an API, the temperature itself goes down to 0 because we don't want the agent to be creative to go guess the price of Bitcoin. We want it to go strictly based on the numbers. So the temperature itself is much, much lower. So, and since the data coming back from Binance is formatted in JSON, the structure of the output itself is easy for a computer to read. So there is no creativity, there's no guessing, and it just processes the data seamlessly. It looks up the incoming JSON data, and then it finds the exact label for price, which is what we showed here, right? And then it actually pulls it in. So you don't need things like a script to go read the actual data. It just understands it. And then that's why it's actually able to tell us what the price of Bitcoin is with these API in a 100% guaranteed fashion. There's no hallucination happening. All right. Yeah, Johnny, we're going to go a
I
little...
think I'm following along. So this whole temperature thing is kind of like, if I ask the same question to 25 different human beings, I'm not going to get the same answer.
That is correct.
Right? But if I ask the same question to, like a very low-level software program, it probably will give me the same answer. Same question, input in, input out. So that temperature thing is almost more like a humanity gauge. It becomes more human when you start getting different answers.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to look at it. So temperature, people just like to say it's more creative if the temperature is higher, which just really means more random. And it means that every once in a while, a wrong answer that it produces may actually be a really genius answer. So that's one of the good things about increasing the temperature. But the lower the temperature, it's going to be exactly what it was trained on, and it's going to give you the same exact answer over and over and over. All right, yeah, Jenny, let's get to the
deep dive.
Sure.
All right, hold on to your hats. This is where AI Junior does every week. He nerds out. So don't worry if you can't follow along with Junior. I notice we're only getting the price when we explicitly ask for it. Originally, we tried to make this thing text me every 60 seconds automatically. Why did we scrap that?
All right, so here's the thing. If you think about texting you every single time. So I want us to make sure that we understand what is really, really happening. So because, it's one thing to teach how to do something. It's the second thing to teach the guardrails around it. If you're teaching somebody how to drive a car, right, you usually want to tell them first where the brakes is, or which pedal is the brakes, or which if you want to turn off the car, how do you do it? So you give them kind of like the things first. So what's happening is every time you actually run a query, you're using up what's known as tokens, right? And what's happening is if you actually go continuously every single minute or every single second or every 5 minutes, go check the price of Bitcoin, go check the price of Bitcoin, go check the price of Bitcoin, that actually is not an expensive call by itself. But what happens is if you keep on asking over and over and over, you're burning through a lot of tokens. So you may actually come back at the end of the month and say, oh my goodness, why is it that I have a bill of $4,000 for using this service? And then you realize, oh my gosh, my service called it once every 15 seconds. And then because it called it once every 15 seconds, you had it running for, let's say, for example, 3 days. And if you realize all of that call itself is going to cost some money. So the reason why we actually scrapped it is because we wanted people to actually understand first the basic fundamentals of having the agent run to make a query. And then you could technically go in and say, hey, you know what? I understand how this is working. I know the risk of what it's going to do. I know it's going to eat up a lot of tokens. And then if I'm okay with that and the ramifications, it's okay to turn that thing on. So it's actually very easy to turn on a continuous loop and keep checking every single time. But keep in mind that it's going to cost you something, right? So inference, or the cost of actually checking when the AI thinks, is actually an expensive task. OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek, they all try to give you this free, you can talk to the AI, but it's actually a free tier. They're monitoring you, and then once you get to a certain limit, they actually stop you because it's really expensive. They're trying to get that money either from investors, or they're getting you to pay $20 or $50 or $100 per month to pay for that compute. So keep in mind that because we're now in control of our own chatbot, we're also responsible for the cost. So make no you're responsible for all these problems. So I want us to be very, 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 very careful about configuring. Go check the weather for me every 5 minutes. Go check the price of Bitcoin for me every 5 minutes, and tell me when something has spiked, and go trade some. Go trade the stocks or trade the bonds or trade whatever it is. So roughly, that's the high level AI, Johnny, I wanted to mention.
Seems like we've stumbled into another industry that has unbelievably great potential to gouge the general public,
Yeah, and
right? Much like
and
the health industry or the legal industry, there are, medical industry says come in for a checkup even if you don't need one, so that I can bill the insurance company $250.
yeah.
This industry, it begs the question: will this industry really try to solve our problems inexpensively, or will they try to solve our problems expensively?
Yeah, so that's a good point. But what I want us to understand is if you're doing this to say, for example, and I know this not maybe a little bit sensitive for some people. If you're running a business and you're paying an employee, say for example, $30,000 a year or $40,000 a year, it is probably cheaper to actually say if this employee's job is automated, I'll rather pay the $4,000 per month, and it only works, say for example, for 2 months. That cost of paying that employee $30,000 a month may not be worth it for the entire year, because you may only need them for tax season. You only may need them for a seasonal basis. So the point is, there are benefits to actually these type of services that if say for example you want to check every 30 seconds, or if you want to take 15 seconds, eating up all those tokens itself may be worth it. So I don't want to say that it's not always worth it, but the economics need to make sense for the business owner to specifically, hey Eric, thanks for joining, to be able to go. So the point is, it's really, really, really a good thing that the consumer or the business owner has this potential in their hand to be able to make that choice. Should I burn all this token in a high cost? If it's giving me the return on investment, it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the key takeaways and applications.
All right, let's bring it back down to earth. There are 3 creative ways that you can use this today. If you want to keep track of competitors' pricing, you can track a competitor's public product API and ask your Telegram bot for a price check while you are in a meeting, or any other time for that matter.
Yeah,
So rather than having to pull yourself away all the time and be proactive, you can have your bot doing this every X number of minutes, hours, days, weeks, or whenever it rises above. I mean, I would think for stocks, I would say, hey, check this thing every hour, and if it falls below this amount, hit me back. Same thing with this competitor's pricing. I want
yeah.
to know if the competitor's price falls below mine. I want to know about that so that I can immediately lower mine below his.
Exactly. Yeah, Johnny. And that's such an amazing point to actually bring up. Imagine, you're running a local pizza shop, right? And let's say, for example, they have their specials that go on. You want to know when the specials are actually going on. They're special. You don't want to just, go to their website every day or every morning. You want a bot or an agent to actually do that for you. So you can actually have that bot go out and say, hey, I am running my local pizza shop. I have my competitor down the street. I have maybe 3 or 4 other competitors around the area. Let me go check for what sales they're having, because if they're having sales, chances are customers are going to go to them and I'm going to lose business. So why not actually have a bot just keep on checking the price? If the price itself is actually below a certain threshold, let me know about it so I can actually run my specials as well. So this is a really great use case. Yeah, Johnny, I love it. What else can we do?
Flight tracking. You can build a skill to check a public aviation API, so you can just text your bot, where is Delta Flight 102? That's kind of cool.
Exactly.
Ordinarily, they'd have to go to the website, drill in, blah, 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 put in the thing, put in the thing. Sometimes it'll say no unless you're on the flight. It's kind of crazy.
Yep,
But
yep,
yeah,
yep.
bot can do that. It's got to be, I mean, weather is the third one. Check your hyper-local weather APIs by asking your bot, do I need an umbrella before I leave the house? Think about all the thousands or tens of thousands of applications that you can have, the APIs that you can have set up with your bot, and you just tell it one time, hey, this interests me. Tell me what the score is of this particular team. Tell me what the weather is in these particular cities. It's like alerts gone on steroids. I mean, imagine if that was talking to your phone. It would be constantly scrolling stuff.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing, especially with, do I need an umbrella, right? So you can actually have your bot eventually tied to your GPS, to your location. And every time you're about to actually leave the house, or it checks your calendar and says that you're going to go out to, say, for example, Atlanta, or you're going to go to another location away from home, you can say, hey, it's not raining where you are right now. But guess what? When your meeting happens, an hour away and you're going to be there for 2 or 3 hours, you need to bring an umbrella because it will be raining based on the weather report because you're going to be going there and you're going to be hanging out there for 2 or 3 hours. So therefore, bring an umbrella. So, these little genius things of building these little bots are really, really great. So on the technical side, here's 3 ways you can actually leverage this now. So things like server health, right? So checking your server health and see the status and see what's happening, and send you a message if the server is actually down. Having database queries, so you can connect a skill to a local inventory database and text your bot how many medium shirts you have left in your stock. And if you say, for example, you're running low, just go ahead and write a skill to actually order, say, for example, the reorder to replenish the stock of the shirts. Another one is, check for public IP reputation API to quickly vet a suspicious website directly from your phone. So lots of little cool, fun use cases that you can actually do. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's get to the Q&A section. So
Yeah,
let's
hang on. Before we get to the Q&A, there's so the tech stuff. You know about these wearables, right? They can test your heart rate, test your body temperature, test your body fat, all kinds of crazy stuff.
I'm
It
wearing one
seems to
now.
me on the tech side that having a bot that tells me, I mean, it's nice to know that I need an umbrella, but it's nicer to know that I need a triple bypass. So if things are going wrong inside my body, I would want my bot to be a doctor. And I don't want to just know what my heart rate is. I don't even know what that means. But an AI bot would. So I'll tell the AI bot, here's my wearable with all my vital statistics and what's going on inside my body. Tell me if anything falls out of range, so that I'm not sitting there grabbing my chest at the dinner table when an AI knew about it the day before yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Johnny, you're absolutely right. I love that use case. That's why I wear my Apple Watch every single day. Gives me a nice alerts and stuff. So definitely recommended for anybody. And we're not sponsored by Apple, by the way. All right, yeah, Johnny. Does anybody have any question in the Zoom chat? Yeah, Johnny. We're also gonna ask people who
Crypto
are in the
King.
Wait, Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, hold on. So we want to give people a chance in the Zoom chat first. Anybody who's in the live chat, please go ahead and ask your questions, queue them up. There's about a 30-second delay. So we're going to go to Zoom chat first to see if there's anybody who has any questions. I know this is a technical episode, so I wanted people to really get a chance to understand what's going on. We're building and layering what OpenClaw can do, and this is episode 3. So we have 2 more weeks in the OpenClaw Bootcamp, and we're going to explore a little bit more technical. So does anybody have any questions on OpenClaw so far in the Zoom chat? All right. Yeah, Johnny, let's go to the live stream. Anybody have questions on live stream?
Yeah, Crypto King wants to know, does this cost money every time the web fetch tool hits the API?
Yeah, so great question. So what happens is there's multiple pieces that needs to be understood. So your OpenClaw is actually understanding your query, and your query is go check the price of Bitcoin for me. Now, it requires some kind of large language model, whether it's local or external. So if you're running something local, you're just hitting a local large language model. It's understanding that, and it's going to Binance to go fetch the actual price. So in that transaction, there is zero cost. But what if, say, for example, you are using not a local model, you're using a model like Gemini, or you're using somebody else. So that is going to cost you something. And then because you're going to Binance, that Binance cost is not going to cost you anything. Now, if it's a private API and you're paying for it, then those things are going to be whatever the pricing tier for that service that you're having access to. So this example we gave, it is costing us a little bit of money because we're using, Gemini to actually reach out. But in general, it depends on how you set it up. So that's why I want you guys to be careful of things like rate limiting and the price. Great question, though.
When it's free, it's free, and when it's expensive, and it's expensive because you signed up for it. Where I get worried is when I sign up to pay so much per thing, and then my credits run away, and I get hit with a $4,000 bill. So when I agree to pay for something, I should agree to pay, and not per credit, but per credit with this cap. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll pay X amount per 100 credits or whatever, but don't charge me more than $100 a month.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's tough because people are actually running into credit hits all the time. The AI is actually saying, I'm not talking to you anymore, and then you have to actually re-up. So, it's unfortunate. Any more questions? Yeah, Johnny?
Yep. Code Ninja over on Zoom. Can I use authentication headers with the web fetch tool for private APIs?
Can I use authentication headers? So yes, you can actually probably configure the skill to say, hey, I want you to inject these headers. So you want to say, hey, you know what? I want these HTTPS headers to actually be injected in, and it will probably say, hey, yeah, you can actually do that. So definitely you can. Next question, yeah, Johnny?
Future Thinker wants to know, if we have agents doing all our web browsing and data gathering, will traditional websites even need visual interfaces anymore?
I think human browsing and agent browsing are two different things. So I think the fact that we actually have these APIs are not going to go away, but we also need web interfaces for humans. So I think they're separate. So they're not going to not go away. We're going to have both existing at the same time.
We got 3 minutes left. Should we do the news?
Of course.
A major open source collective just released a universal protocol for AI agents to securely negotiate API access with websites autonomously. A new study shows that local AI agent adoption in personal finances has increased by 400% this quarter, driven by privacy concerns over cloud data sharing. And finally, a major university has entirely replaced its IT help desk routing system with a local AI, reducing ticket response times from 4 hours to 12 seconds.
Yep. These are amazing.
I'm literally going to go home and set this up right after the stream to monitor the prices of vintage Gibson guitars on public auction sites directly from my phone for my new Sora band. Thank you guys for being here. Tomorrow is Tuesday, which means we're diving into our Hidden AI Apps series. We're looking at Google Pomeli, the brand builder. We're going to be extracting brand DNA to automate social media visual marketing. It's going to be visually stunning, so do not miss that.
Yep.
Junior, you want to take us out?
Yep, and make sure you guys sign up for a free account and RSVP to all our shows to get reminders at www.earheadinstitute.ai. And if you want to support the stream, become a paid member. And since today is Monday, remember you can get tips on your own AI projects in our AI office hours every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time if you're a pro member. Have a wonderful day, rest of your day. Catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Eric, stick around.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.